Hey y'all, Jonathan McGarry here, and this is Off the Page, Genesis chapter 7. This is what God caused to jump off the page to me today as I read this chapter several times. Genesis chapter 7 tells us of Noah and his family, along with all the birds, land animals, and creatures entering into the ark. It also tells us of God causing it to rain for the first time on the earth, and that also the water coming up from under the surface of the earth to flood the whole earth. While several things stand out to me in this chapter, it is the last few verses that God caused to jump off the page to me today with three specific thoughts. In verses 21 to 23, it tells us that all life, all who breathes air through their nose, died. Everything. Mankind, the animal kingdom, plant life, down to the insects, and other such creatures were completely wiped out. Well, that ought to make any of us take pause and be moved by such a loss of life. We must remember that it is God that gives life, and God has the right to take life. We also must remember that it was sin that caused God to judge the world, and it ought to drive home to us the concept of just how much God cannot tolerate sin. It should also serve as a warning to any who might say, I can't believe a loving God would send anyone to an eternal punishment in hell, to think again. God is righteous and holy, and he cannot and will not tolerate even one smudge of sin. What he did in the flood, he will one day do again, but with fire and not by water. Lastly, it should boost our faith in that what God said that he would do, as he did in chapter 6, he will bring to pass. Everything on the earth was destroyed by the flood, except for Noah and his family, which were saved on board the ark. The best thing that we can do is get on board with the provision that God has made and trust him to use us and carry us in seeing his will and his word completed. So what about you? Did you see what I saw? Did God show you something else or something different? Seek him in his word. He will be found. And that is the whole point of us reading his love letter to us. To seek him, to know him, and have a relationship with him. Let God speak to you today. Until next time, remember, I love you. More importantly, remember God loves you. And keep your eyes on him.